Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I am Rockin Robbie Billups. It's Friday. That means it's time for the Rex and the Robbie show. We usually cover a topic, but today there were a bunch of little topics, so we decided let's do a Q&A. Have you converse with us, ask us questions. You want to know about spam? You want to know what we think about the new Superman casting? You want to know what we thought about the Flash disaster? You want to know what we think Indiana Jones is going to do? You want to know who we think is going to win the weekend between Oppenheimer and Barbie? Any of these kind of things. This is the show where we're just going to chat with you, and you can't have the Rex and the Robbie show without Rex. So how you doing, my man?
Oh, I'll be here as long as my internet holds out. So, and you should clarify when you talk about spam, you're not talking about the kind you get in your email. We're talking about the kind you get in a can at the supermarket.
Exactly. That's the kind of spam that we're talking about. Me and Rex do a show over at the EXP every Monday night. We have a great time. Spam's become one of our in-jokes, but I wanted to point out tonight over at the EXP, the original art experience with Nick. That is a great show. He's always got lots of cool original artwork available for sale. Great conversations. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the show, Rex?
So we're going to have probably more art than we've ever had in the history of the show. Some great stuff by Mark Bagley, Norm Rapman, some key covers. It's going to be a great show. So the real trick is going to be whether Nick can get through, as he tells the stories about each piece, whether he can get through all of that in 1 hour. So I'm going to bet probably not, knowing how the show usually flows. And he's probably got 3 times the amount of original art. But you got to tune in. Some great prices. So as I said, key covers. Great artists, and if you don't collect original art, it's a great show to watch. Find out about original art, where your comic book actually starts, if you will. So it's going to be a great show tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern on The Experience.
Yeah, it's always a great show. Nick is a plethora of comic book knowledge. He has been a part of this industry for decades. He knows plenty of stuff about it, knows plenty of people. He has amazing stuff, and he has really solid prices. So if you're ever wanting to dip your toes into collecting original art, which is just getting more and more popular, it's a really great show to join for that. So check that out tonight. They're at 6 p.m. Central, right? 7 Eastern?
7 Eastern, yes.
Okay, rock on. KG Comics says, I fell asleep last night listening to the best comics of June 2023 video panel and woke up this morning to the best comics of August, September 2022. Well, thank you for the watch time. As unintentional as it is, KG, we really do appreciate that. Station, Josh. Yep, no political talk, figure drawing. We're going to stay away from that one. Two Gun Pedro, what is up, my man? And Average Comics Joe in the house. So, y'all, this is a Ask Us Anything. This is a Q&A session with me and Rex. So I'll kick us off, man. What do you think about the Superman casting? So we got Superman and Lois, and the dude who's playing Superman, I know him from Pearl. He was a projectionist in the movie Pearl, and I loved him in that movie, and I like the look. And then the woman's from, what is it, The Marvelous Miss Maisel or something like that? I've never seen that show, so I'm not familiar with her work, but I'm excited we got this news. So what do you think?
Well, I think that whoever they picked to be Superman is Henry Cavill's son, okay, because they look exactly the same. He's only skinnier, so he's going to have to bulk up a little bit for the role. I don't know either of them very well. Yeah, looking at the pictures, obviously they fit the mold, if you will, of Superman and Lois. Who knows? You know what? I at this point in time, James Gunn make the movie. Let's see. Let's see Blue Beetle. Let's see whatever. At this point, that's so far out. I'm great. They picked the cast. Yay. Again, as long as they don't pull an Ezra Miller, I guess it should be fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I liked Cavill's Superman. I think he just kind of got caught up in the whole, end of the DCEU and all that. And he became just kind of a victim of friendly fire, if you will. I don't think anybody looked at him and said, no, your Superman's awful. But he just didn't fit into whatever vision that James Gunn has. So, I feel badly in terms of that. I honestly always thought Affleck was yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I thought he was a so-so Batman. Obviously, Moe as Aquaman was phenomenal. All right, and I really like Gal Gadot as as Wonder Woman. So
Yeah.
So Amy is in the house, but we have no topic. He really
I
threw
did
us to the wolves.
have to stop in here to pull some stuff because I got to make invoices. But I'm happy to drop my opinion on something if no one
Corn
minds.
Sweat. Josh went. Good point.
His name is Corn Sweat. That is so weird.
Hey, I like. Go with your real name, man.
Yeah,
hey, look,
Superman.
Bueller's actually showing up.
Oh God, Travis is on. Oh no.
Hi, Travis.
Open Q&A. Big trouble now.
Yeah, Bueller, it's an open Q&A. Amy, do you have any thoughts on the casting of Lois and Superman?
I'm excited. I mean, my mom's more the Mrs. Maisel fan. She's the one who watched that show, but I've seen a couple episodes, so I'm familiar with Rachel Brosnahan, so she seems like a great fit for Lois. I've only seen a little bit of David, but like you said, I also saw Pearl, so I like that he's not a super known person, because now this is what's going to launch him into the stratosphere, so now he'll become the A-lister, you know what I mean?
You know what I wish? I wish one time we're talking about a movie that's coming up and Amy comes in and says, I think it's going to suck. I would love for that to happen. Okay.
Yeah. I have hope for this. I have hope for this camp. I have hope for James
you have
Gunn.
hope for everything. You had hope for Morbius. Okay. You had hope for Flash. Or you had
I didn't say anything about Morbius.
No, but you did go and see it, didn't you?
No.
You didn't? See, that's how she does
I have a long list of must-sees, and that didn't make it to the list, okay?
All right, we got a question from KG. KG says, do you guys read manga at all? I read that new Spider-Man manga called Fake Red. It was so good. And I haven't even heard
the manga more. I should be.
Yeah, I haven't even heard of the Spider-Man manga Fake Red. Now, I do read manga, but I don't read like a lot of current stuff. You know, like at my shop, we sell a lot of like Demon Slayer and Kaiju Number 8 and Spy X Family and Chainsaw Man. I've never really read any of that kind of stuff, but I'm a huge fan of Akira, Ghost in the Shell, Fist of the North Star, Blade of the Immortal, Lone Wolf and Cub. So I guess I'm more old school. And what are some good new recommendations? Let us know. And what about you guys? Y'all read manga? Amy, you said you wish you read more manga.
It seems like all those kind of stories they're great stories and they're adapted into great films. I'm like, I wish I was into that more, because I've only seen a small handful of anything manga related or anime related, but I want to get into it more.
So Marcus, good question. Average Comics Joe, that's a really good question.
It's not a bad idea.
It's not.
Take a breather.
But I just don't think that they can afford to do it. You know, it just at some point you've got to bring in a positive, a positive income here. I don't think they can take a few years off, and I don't know that it would actually. I don't think it would. Well, I don't know. I guess it would hurt to a certain extent, but probably it would help more. I would agree. I think after they hired Gunn, maybe they should have just stopped. Okay, but you still had Shazam, you had Flash, you had, I guess you had so much money tied up into it. What are you gonna do? You got to release it no matter what. Let's see.
Well,
Marcus,
there's hold on, real quick. So they are kind of taking a break, right? Because we got Blue Beetle in August, we got Aquaman in December, and then nothing for a year and a half until Superman Legacy comes out, right? I mean, Creature Commandos, I think, will be dropped, the animated series or something, but I think then
big.
Yeah, there's a year and a half now. Obviously, they shelved Batgirl, but they weren't going to shelve the Flash because they put so much money into it. Maybe they should have, because they ain't making it back. They were offering buy one, get one free tickets. They've already announced the digital release date. They've already announced the Blu-ray release date. They're just begging people. And apparently with the Indiana Jones movie coming up, which is not connected to DC whatsoever, but apparently somebody Applebee's or somebody's giving away tickets because they're really afraid of it underperforming. So I don't know.
Wow.
Well, the critical reviews on the Indiana Jones movie has not been good so far. But I think it'll be all right. Marcus, good point. I believe you're right about that. But I think that the Indiana Jones movie, it may not be the blockbuster they were hoping for, but I think it'll still be okay because there is a generation, and I know Travis is one of them because yesterday on the show we were talking about it. On his show we were talking about it. There is my generation that's going to watch that movie. Now I'm not going to theaters, but we're going to watch that movie because of nostalgia. It was unreal when it first came out. I even remember the movie theater I went to in Philadelphia to watch it, and it was. I remember going to school and a friend of mine saying, "Hey, have you seen Raiders of the Lost Ark?" I'm like, "No, what's that about?" And my friend's starting to describe, it's about an archaeologist. I'm going, "Whoa, what?" He goes, "No, it's going to be the best movie you ever saw. It has Han Solo in it." I'm like, "All right." So went and saw it, and of course it was, I'll never forget that first scene when he's in the jungle and, right off, you got all that action. And then the big rolling stone, round stone and all that good stuff. So we're going to go see it. Even if every Rotten Tomatoes, everybody says it totally sucks, we're still going to see it, our generation, because it's tied up memories. And to the extent, this was a story that Travis and I shared, my daughter and I, we've been to Disney World a ton of times, but we, when she was like 9, we took a trip to Disneyland. We happened to be in the California area. And we went in there, and Disneyland has the Indiana Jones ride. And I wanted to go on it so bad. My daughter was a little resistant. She hadn't seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, and obviously it was not a big deal. So we went. She agreed. We got in line. We got on the ride. I loved it. Okay. She hated it. She was terrified. And Travis was telling the story that he went to Disneyland with his daughter about the same age, and she hated that ride too. So my point being, even if, the general, it doesn't turn out to be the blockbuster everybody thinks, I believe that it's going to be okay. All right. So.
Looks like William's seen it.
I mean,
everyone's.
I guess. Well, I've seen everyone that came out, like Temple of Doom. It started falling off a little bit, mainly because, first of all, Harrison Ford was getting older. Okay, they tried to revive it with Sean Connery, which I thought was a halfway decent one. And then, the passage of time, the story became a little bit more complicated to write, I think, because originally you're set in a World War II era against the Nazis. That was very, very kind of easy to write. But as you're trying to incorporate this as he gets older and older, I think it became more difficult. But it sounds like William did see it. That's a shame. I hate to hear that, but clearly this is going to be it. This franchise is long since passed. But what are you gonna
do? My buddy Mike saw it last night, and he gave it 4 out of 5. But so he enjoyed it. He said, and I've heard other people say, like, I've seen some social media reactions today from fans saying that, it wasn't as bad as I thought, and a lot of the rumors that were swirling around over the last couple of years. That got a lot of people turned against it, like they were going to replace them with a young female Indiana Jones or something like that. Apparently, that's all just bogus, or they undid it or whatever. But I'm going to go see it this afternoon, and I'm excited to check it out. I rewatched Raiders the other night, and I got the unpopular opinion. My favorite Indiana Jones movie is Temple of Doom. Like, when I was a kid, I don't know, it was Short Round. It was the scene where they're eating monkey brains.
Yeah, I like that one too.
A lot of people don't like that one, but I grew up loving like nasty VHS horror movies. You know what I'm saying? And so to see like that heart get ripped out and still beating and flame, this is awesome. This is awesome. I like
movies when they just go off the wall crazy like that. That's
all right. So
there was Robbie. I love it too. Like
the first movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark. All right. So I challenged the everyone in the chat. So in the scene where he goes and he finds Marion, okay, in I guess it was Nepal, wherever, and she owns that bar, and then the Nazis come and there's a big fire and a gunfight, right? There was a major editing boo-boo in that scene.
I heard of this.
There was a major editing boo-boo. And I saw the movie so many times, I caught it before, it came out or whatever. Who knows what that boo-boo is? I challenge the chat. We'll wait a couple minutes for everybody to try to respond to that. Okay. But that's why the continuity guy on a film is so important. Okay. So they missed something. and they didn't reshoot it, I guess, because that had to be a very expensive, complex shoot because so much action going on, fire, gunfire, the whole 9 yards. Marcus, I gotta tell you, I hated the one with Shia LaBeouf in it.
You know what I am hearing about this one? It's better than Crystal Skull.
I like Crystal Skull too. I mean, I like the franchise. So,
did you not just say you don't like the one with Shia LaBeouf? That's Crystal Skull.
No, I don't like Shia in the role, but I still like the movie. You know what I mean? He just didn't fit. I never liked him. I don't know.
I'll be honest. I gotta rewatch it. It's been a while.
I didn't.
I'm like, it's a watchable movie. It's not the best one, but it's watchable.
For me,
and me, sometimes that's all you need. You just need to be a watchable movie, and I'll say I liked it.
Yeah,
I remember not minding it when it first came out, right? Like I remember like kind of defending it a little bit and being like, because people were like, oh, well, there's no Nazis, it's communists. I'm like, because it's in the 50s. Oh, there's no like biblical artifacts, it's aliens. I'm like, because it's the 50s. Like I liked the idea that taking it from the 30s into the 50s, now you're trying to incorporate 50s popular fiction, right? But then I'm going to rewatch it because Action Fest starts July 10th, and we're covering the entire indie franchise, including the new one. So it'll be the first time I watch Crystal Skull in a long time. So it's going to be interesting to see how it ages for sure.
Yeah, my problem was with Shia in that movie was I never really liked him. I didn't like him in Charlie's Angels. I didn't like him in this. And I saw what they were trying to do. They were trying to do a handoff in the franchise, as Marcus said, right? But it wasn't working. It didn't work. So he kind of just felt like an added forced character in the movie that you didn't need. So that's, that was my problem. But let me say, yeah, KG, me too. But all right, so nobody knows what the major boo-boo in Raiders of the Lost Ark during the scene in Nepal in the bar? No, not you. Robbie?
I don't know, and I actually just rewatched this the other night, and I didn't pick up on it.
All right. Well, rewatch that scene again after I tell you. So, as Indy is fighting off, all right, the Nazis and everything, all that action's happening. In one scene, you see Indy firing, okay? And before that, when he's with the dean at the college, right, and they're at his house and he's packing up to go, right? He throws his, I imagine it was a .357 revolver onto the bed, okay, whatever. So the scene starts and he pulls out his gun and it is a revolver. Then midway through the scene, he's firing and it's a .45 automatic, 1911 as a matter of fact, okay? And people have tried to write it off as, well, maybe he picked that up. But then immediately afterwards, he's firing the revolver again. So somebody in continuity majorly screwed up on that one.
Yeah,
you will not be able to watch that scene and unsee it. You'll see it every single time.
Yeah, I'll have to rewatch the scene now. I thought for a second you're about to say he has the one gun, and then the next time he has Han Solo's blaster. That could be cool.
Yeah, that would be a major screw up on the part of continuity. Okay, you would have to reshoot the scene.
There is a Star Wars Easter egg in the movie. Did you know that?
There was what?
There is a Star Wars Easter egg in Raiders.
I did not.
He's in the pit where the Ark is with all the snakes, and you look at the hieroglyphics in the back. There's a little picture of R2-D2 and C-3PO.
That's right. I've heard about that. I forgot about that, but you're right. Yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah.
I got to go back and watch it now. I did not know that. Comic culture, yeah, there probably is. It was any film, I'm sure. But this one was, I don't know. I saw the movie so many times that, you couldn't lose it. It was so easy to pick up because he was the center of the shot. Whereas missing the Easter egg, you're kind of focused on the snakes, and the two of them in the snake pit. So you wouldn't be looking at the walls, but now I'm going to go back and look at the walls. That's a good point.
Why did it have to be snakes?
Yeah, that was just altogether such a great movie.
Snakes, very dangerous. You go first.
Yeah, right. It was such an awesome movie. The whip, okay. They made a whip work. It was like, what the, but that was awesome too.
It's such a fascinating behind the scenes thing that they made, because I remember another thing, the fact like, because like all of course they got like, you know, non-lethal snakes, very safe snakes, but like the snakes do bite. But like I heard one of the handles, she's like, oh, if a snake just bites you, just gotta take it by the tail, kind of whip it, and then it'll let go. I'm like, that's crazy.
Hopefully they're underneath were all like rubber snakes or whatever, but I would think, you know, they'd probably be pretty expensive to get, you know, all real snakes for that. But I just felt like that movie, everything, the stars were aligned. Okay. Harrison Ford was, you know, at his peak moving up. All right. Starting, you know, way back with his minor role in American Graffiti, then Star Wars, and now Indiana Jones. So his trajectory was skyrocketing. The movie was just timely. It was such an unusual story. Like, who goes to watch an archaeologist action film? Like, I remember my buddy trying to describe it. I'm like, what? This don't make no sense. Are you serious? You know, well, why would I be interested in seeing an action film with an archaeologist? What's he doing? Right? And the cast was fantastic. The storyline was fantastic. You know, the one thing that really stood out, the stunt, when he's underneath the Nazi truck and he's crawling back up, dude, that was like, what? Okay, I don't know why, but it felt like we'd never seen something like that before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And from that movie, so many action sequences, I think, you know, different directors started to incorporate, because they're like, wow, you know, just everything about that movie. I remember you walked out, I was like, whoa. You got to be kidding me. I didn't think it'd be like that.
That's one of those things that blew me away too. Like, and again, it's all practical stunts, like professional. Like, I don't know how much of it is Harrison Ford, how much of it is his stunt guy, but it's still someone getting under a truck, getting dragged, having to climb it. Like,
no, I remember seeing a documentary about that. There was, I don't know if it's Harrison Ford. I don't think it was him, but they showed they actually sped it up, but they were still driving the truck, and the stuntman was back there getting dragged across rocks, you know, pulling on the whip to get underneath.
Stunt people awards.
Yeah, no kidding, right? But it had, you know, we talk about Thor, Love and Thunder, and how, you know, the misuse of the comedy. The beauty part of Raiders was even the comedy was timed just right. You remember the scene in the airfield at the end, and Marion gets trapped in the cockpit. Remember? It was just so funny, and the interaction between the two of them. You know, yelling at each other, screaming at each other. It was just, everything worked. It was just such a great movie.
Oh, the iconic guy with the sword, and he's just like,
yeah, and he pulls out the gun. It was just
like, screw this. I don't got
little moments.
And how many times have you seen that bit redone in multiple movies? You know what I'm saying? Where somebody's like, blah, blah, blah. Like they did it in 89's Batman. You know?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So it just, you know, it was just right time, right cast, hell of a screenplay. Which brings me to my other point. I think it was Marcus or somebody else that brought up earlier. It's all just remakes and reboots and all that stuff, right? And it has leaned more and more into that. So you begin to wonder how many films like Raiders of the Lost Ark never make it. Because I can imagine trying to sell that bad boy. Okay, so let me get this straight. It's an archaeologist? Yes. Okay. And he's hunting for the Ark of the Covenant? Yes. And there are Nazis? Yes. Get out of my office. What, are you kidding me? This ain't gonna work.
Wait till you see the ending.
Yeah.
It's like nuts.
Okay, it's not gonna work. Okay. There's a big stone. How much is that that rolls down? How much is that gonna cost? Okay. You know, the idea of selling something like that, I could imagine was quite the challenge.
Yeah, and you had mentioned how the stars had aligned perfectly at this time for it too, because like Harrison Ford was on the rise, Steven Spielberg was becoming like a big hot director, George Lucas with the success of Star Wars, so that's probably why it got made. You know,
I think anybody else would not have been able to sell the idea, but these three powerhouses were able to push the idea. You know, I think I could see the media happening in studio going, well. Okay, I've got E.T. director of E.T. I've got the guy who came out with Star Wars, and I got the star, okay, of Star Wars that everybody's losing their mind over. Okay, and the funny thing was they tried to cast Tom Selleck.
Yep.
Who I think would have been awful in a role, absolutely brutally awful.
That would have been such an interesting, weird movie. And like, I always like, so like one time I wrote this story and like something happened. They went back in time and changed something. And when they came in, like one of the things that had changed was that Tom Selleck had always been Indiana Jones. Right. And, they do that bit in The Flash, Amy, don't they? Because they go into the world and they're like, no, Eric Stoltz was Marty McFly.
And he's losing by like, no, it's Michael J. Fox. Oh, Michael J. Fox, the star of Footloose? What? Yeah. And then, no, that's Kevin Bacon. Oh, yeah, Kevin Bacon, Top Gun, great movie. Yep. He's just like, I broke the universe.
I love it. Average Comics Joe says, I don't know if y'all been following MCU news, but I heard that Captain America Brave New World will be part 1 of the World War Hulk storyline.
Very interesting. I mean, and Harrison Ford, he's our new Ross. He's our new Ross. So now he's going to be in the MCU. That's also exciting.
So Marcus, I love that movie. By the way, it was like one of the first movies I think that we rented when people were when the whole video, but they were like local shops, right? Where the whole video rental thing started to happen. You had to leave like a $200 deposit or something. It was crazy. Yeah, Quickly Down Under I thought was a great film. It was beautifully shot, okay, you know, in Australia, and obviously the storyline I thought was good, and Tom Selleck fit that character. It worked, but I don't think he would have made a good Indy, not even close, you know. But I love that movie. What's her name that was in G and something or another. The female actor that was in it. I thought she was great, and of course it was from Die Hard, just recently passed. Also from Harry Potter. Snape.
Alan Rickman.
Yes,
yeah, Alan
he was
Rickman.
in that. He was the bad ranch owner, big bad guy, and thought he was so cool with that drawing the gun. And you know, and that movie was beyond the scenic shots. It was beautiful. I mean, the director of photography really, you know, did justice. But it had its little moments, like at the end, right, where he wants to draw, and then the famous line by Tom Selleck, because thank you, OUG, because he had that big rifle, you know, that long rifle, whatever, and you know, they say, yeah, give him a gun, right, and they draw, and Tom Selleck like totally like blows him away, and he comes up and he said, you know, he had that one line, he never found a need for one, but didn't mean he didn't know how to use one. And that was like the greatest line before Rickman dies. You know, that was a well-directed movie as well. Yeah, well, you know, so, but I just can't see Tom Selleck. I felt like the Indy character, I don't know, he had to be a little grittier, and I just didn't feel like, not that the character in Quickly Down Under wasn't gritty, but I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it is because it happened the way it happened, kind of thing. Like you guys were referencing the one scene in the Flash. You know, maybe Kevin Bacon would have been great at Top Gun. Who knows, right? But it's not
some
the way
other
like
universe. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I mean I kind of see that, but.
So on the Captain America being the first part of like a World War Hulk story, so there have been rumors that they've been wanting to do World War Hulk for a while, and there are rumors, or there's a strong sense from the audience wants World War Hulk, right? Because they kind of did Planet Hulk a little bit in Thor Ragnarok, but if they did World War Hulk, they would do it in a different way. And honestly, they got to be doing something with the Hulk, because I've heard recently they did finally get the rights back to actually have a Hulk movie. And you bring in Harrison Ford to play Thunderbolt Ross, and you know everybody's anticipation is going to be that Red Hulk's involved in some kind of form or fashion. There are rumors that he's going to be one of the big deals in the Thunderbolts movie as well. So they definitely, I think, are trying to develop this. What's really funny to me about this is that Harrison Ford has seemed like, I'm so glad I'm done playing Indy. I hate it. And like, I'm so glad that they killed Han Solo, blah, blah, blah. I'm so tired of this. And then he's like, sure, I'll join Marvel movie. Like, bro, like, I don't know. It's so weird. He seems like, it almost seems like he has.
Like, if I feel like doing it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, guys, you know, there's really a limited.
I am hoping that Mark Ruffalo does finally get his own movie as Hulk. I just because we have these real interesting storylines, but there's still so much we have yet to touch on the Hulk story. I mean, I know the other solo movies touched on other certain things, but if you do want to do the World War Hulk storyline, I know at the end of She-Hulk, like obviously that's what he was dealing with. We meet his son, so I hope that's what the movie is. Us seeing him away, meeting his son, and going over what happened while he was away. So I just hope we get like a real good build up to the big, because I know World War Hulk, he kind of turns against everybody. So I want a good build up to that because I don't want it to just happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree too, Marcus. The Mummy franchise would be like the 90s version of Indy. I love The Mummy and The Mummy Returns. And they do kind of have that Indiana Jones vibe, fun, adventure, action, and Brendan Fraser being able to have that personality.
Reed Richards.
Right. I would actually, the way they tried to revive it with Tom Cruise was man, that was a loser. That really was. And I don't know the real story. I mean, there was some sort of story, right, behind why. What was the guy's name? Just recently has found, I can't remember the actor's name.
You got to give me more.
The one that was in the Mummy. Brendan Fraser. Yeah. So
winner Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, now, but he was blackballed for a while. I think. I don't know why. I remember hearing something about it, but he was really blackballed for quite some time. Okay, because the Mummy franchises were making money. That's why they tried to go back and remake it. Oh, let's get Tom Cruise. Okay, not realizing that it was, Fraser, and just the feel of it. It wasn't super whatever. He was a totally different kind of archaeologist action hero. He was kind of a little fumbling and bumbling and getting out of it. So it was just fantastic. And then he got blackballed for some reason. I have no idea why. And then the Tom Cruise one was awful. All the remakes.
OUG, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I read something about that, but it was a shame because, and then bring The Rock in. Oh my God! It just they didn't. Finally, I think they recognized it was Brendan. Oh my God! Really? Yeah. Look. You gave him an Academy Award. Yeah, he made the franchise, man. Okay.
No, I get you. I think Brendan Fraser is awesome in the Mummy movies, but like he didn't make the third one any good. Not even Jet Li can make the third one any good. That one wasn't good. But I like The Mummy Returns, and I don't mind The Rock as the Scorpion King. Like I actually think it's pretty badass. So that's just me. But I don't know.
I was okay with it. The third
it's weird when they did the whole CG thing at the end, right? When he shows up and he even does the people's eyebrow, and I was like, oh my God, it's so crazy. Sometimes they do things with CG that they're not ready for. We still haven't figured out how apes look good. So
yeah, the third one wasn't great. All right, obviously, and the throwing Jet Li in there didn't really help. I think it suffered from a bad script. I think at that point, the studio just felt like, oh, we got a lot, man. People love this. So, we'll just slap it together like what we're criticizing the MCU for right now. We'll just slap something together, okay? People go watch it. And I think they kind of, lost their way. But even still, that last one, tons and tons better than the Tom Cruise one. The Tom Cruise one, just call it something else, okay? Whatever it is, okay? But it was a lousy movie, and Tom Cruise, loved him in Top Gun, but I'm not a big fan. I'm just not.
Someone asked a bunch of more stuff is popping up, but someone asked about what do we think of Adam Driver as Reed Richards?
Yes,
it sounds like he's not getting the part now. But even though I would have been fine with it, I love Adam Driver. I think he can do anything.
I think that the same reason or the same cause that has made every FF movie suck, okay, is I'm not so much worried about the casting. I'm worried about the screenplay. Okay. All right, the script. Let's see that. That's what I'm looking at. That has been the failure every single time. Okay, worry less about the casting. Not the Corman one, but the one with
Michael Chiklis and Chris Evans.
Yeah. I thought that cast was good.
I liked that first movie.
I liked that cast, but you put forth a crappy screenplay, you're gonna get a crappy movie. That's it.
And they totally miscast and miswrote Doctor Doom in those movies. 100%.
Oh yes, I agree because I read an article where they said they basically turned the Doctor Doom character in that movie, okay, into they just tried to carbon copy Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's like Green Goblin.
And
is what he
is, right? Goblin. Oh, rich dude. Okay, into developing science. So he just no. That's not the character. That's never been the character. And then the whole competition love interest between Reed and Doom over Sue. It's like, dude, where are you getting this stuff? This is crap.
Yeah,
but
it was really bad. But there are elements in the Fantastic Four movie that I do like. Like, for instance, I think they nailed Ben and Johnny in that first movie. In the second movie,
they feel like a family. Like, you get that they all care about and love each other, and that's what the FF that they're a family, and they'll do anything for each other. And that's what you could easily get that from that cast. So
yeah.
So OUD, that's a good point. I kind of see Driver as a good Doom as well. But maybe that's because of the Kylo Ren thing. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. While I'm sure he would do great as that role, we just saw him as the kind of bad guy in Star Wars, so let's see him switch it up a little bit.
I don't know.
I think Adam Driver.
I think we better focus on the script.
I think Adam Driver is a great actor. I just visually, he's not what I think of when I think of Reed Richards, But at the same time, John Krasinski wasn't necessarily somebody that I thought of visually as Reed Richards, but I loved him in that bit that he's in Doctor Strange. So I wish that he would come in and do it and even direct the film. I think that would be great, but that ain't going to happen. So I don't know.
I hope it's not the Albatross. The Albatross.
I think the Fantastic Four cast only needs one established actor on the team. The first 6 members of the Avengers weren't breaking box office starters before being hired. That's a good point too. You can get mostly newer people. So they can really become these roles, like we were just saying about the new Superman. Like, he's not as big as, he's not quite as big as Rachel Brosnahan, because again, she's an Emmy winner. She's done a bunch of stuff on TV, but his star is rising, and now he's really gonna be up there. So yeah, Fantastic Four try to get mostly newer people.
And it works because then you don't have the personality or the perceived personality by the audience of the actor into the character. Like, it works in certain cases. Like Robert Downey Jr. was perfect to play Tony Stark, but now Tony Stark is written with more Robert Downey Jr. isms than typically, right? But then look at the instance with Batman. When they cast Ben Affleck, there were so many people that were just immediately against it, could never separate what they thought about Ben Affleck from his performance as Batman, which I think was really solid. And I think one of his best performances in the entire DCEU is in The Flash. In the very beginning, there's something very grounded about his approach in that movie that I really, really liked, like a more hardened, hopeful Bruce.
Maybe for FF, maybe the established actor should be the villain, and then everyone that Fantastic Four should just be newbies, mostly newbies.
Here's the problem. So, what Average Comics Joe is saying, the problem is that when Avengers came out, that was a different time for this, right? Because we were so starved, like Iron Man, whatever. So we were so starved in not having these type of movies. So it was a really new phenomenon at the time. And we saw what they're trying to build. Okay, when they came out with Captain America, we saw where they were going with this, sort of. And that at the time was still a very new concept, really. Okay, Star Wars way back tried to dance a little bit with it, but this was a brand new concept. Now everybody's trying to do the same thing, right? So now I don't feel like you're going to get the same reception because the bar is now higher. Our expectations are much higher. We expect more quality. We expect something, oh, what, they're Easter eggs? Shocker. Oh, you're going to try to lead into the next project at the end of the movie during the credits? Shocker. Okay. It's not new anymore. And that's the problem. And now now everything. So Endgame is up here. So now everything in order to be considered any kind of close to success, you have to be close to Endgame. Okay, and to really be a blockbuster, you need to extend Endgame. Back when Iron Man came out, what do we have? We had nothing. It was a clean slate. Throw it out there. I do agree that Robert Downey Jr. was an excellent casting choice. Okay, he had that kind of rich guy, irreverent kind of craziness that we know as Robert Downey Jr. Okay, so I kind of like that. Ben Affleck, you know what? I want to say he wasn't a bad Batman, but the movies,
he's a solid Batman.
But the movies that he was in were just so badly written and directed. I got to be honest, okay. And here we go. The Schneider fans hate me. Okay.
Well, I love Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice, like the ultimate cut. Like I'm one of those few that just adores that movie.
I'm happy for you, Robbie. I'm happy for you. I can't get behind it, but if you find enjoyment, I'm happy for you.
She's so positive. Okay, if I felt the same thing as Amy, I'd just come out and say, "You're wrong, Robbie. You're dead wrong, man. You are wronger than wrong. You're the most wrong person on the face of the earth." But she's nice. I'm not. But
why did you say that name?
You know what's that?
Why did you say that name? Who's Martha? What? There's some dumb moments, man. I get it, but I don't know, man. I really like that movie. I like how mythical Zack Snyder was trying to make these movies. He was like, what's that?
You had moments that didn't make
everything
any
just
sense.
felt rushed.
Yeah.
I admire Zack Snyder's ideas. It's just his execution, because everything's so rushed. We barely know this Superman. We got him for one movie, then you kill him in the second one, and then.
Well, you've seen when they're
trying to resurrect him in Justice League. I'm like, I don't really care if they bring him back. I don't like
it. Right? You've seen the extended cut of BBS, right?
Yeah.
Because it makes it more of a Superman and Lois story and less of like a Batman focused story, which I think is like what you need to do. Lex Luthor's motivations make more sense to me in the extended cut, for instance. But, am I a Snyder fanboy? A little bit. He's only done one movie I don't really like, and that was Sucker Punch. So, yeah, I'm really pumped for Rebel Moon. Basically, Zack Snyder doing Star Wars. That's going to be awesome. So, we'll see.
So, OUJ, I want to respond to OUJ. I agree with you about, where they given a crappy script. But by the same token, I've seen, really phenomenal actors take a crappy script and make it the best they can make it. And I got to admit, if you're a struggling unknown actor, I would say, yeah. But guys like Ben Affleck and the rest of them, yeah,
very few times I could blame an actor for something. Very few times.
Yeah, I can very easily lay blame, because guess what? You're making $1 billion. Suck it up, buddy. All right, you can deal with it. I just, again, not a Schneider fan. I never was. Not saying I don't like his stuff, but I just felt like what he did was better than Whedon. Okay, I can say that much. Okay, that's about it though. I really, and part of it is DC's fault as well. Okay, you keep remaking, and then you caved under pressure, and you brought back the Schneider extended cut. At this point, my watching it was like, didn't this come out already?
I freaking love the Snyder cut of Justice League. I love
it. Cut, yes, but did it need to be 4 hours? No.
No, there's a really good 2.5 hour movie in there, though. Like, there's a really good 2.5 hour movie in that 4 hour cut, because, yeah, we don't need like the 5-minute scene of the woman singing to topless Aquaman. I don't know. It's so weird. So many.
But one thing about them going to, and then the whole future scene, it was like the apocalypse, and I'm just like, we're never gonna see this. Why put it in here?
So we're never gonna see. The only thing that I really enjoyed from Schneider cut as opposed to what Whedon did was, believe it or not, the one scene with Aquaman and Bruce Wayne, okay, and when Momoa goes back in the water, whereas Whedon had to make the big super speed and all the waves and the wake and all that, whereas as Schneider had him just dive in the water and disappear. I like that a lot better. It just felt more real. You know what I mean? Like the guy is hiding in this northern town. He's trying to stay under the radar, and when he leaves, he's going to make like big wake with super speed. I mean, who does that? The continuity, didn't make any sense. I used to like what Josh Whedon did, but as the years go on, I got to tell you, OUG, I agree, but again, that was Zack Snyder in the studio not agreeing, so they brought in Whedon to kind of close it up. Josh Whedon, more of a TV guy, I think. Okay, that's my personal opinion. All right, I like his TV stuff. Did not like it. It certainly did not like his version of Justice League. Schneider's was okay, but ultimately, all in all, not good.
Martian Manhunter offering to help after the fight was over. Yeah. What was the point of having Martian Manhunter in there if he's not really doing anything?
Agreed. There have been so many missteps by DC.
That's why they need to start fresh, and that's why they're doing. That's why they're doing that. There's clean slate.
We're hoping that's going to happen. Hopefully, they can ditch the baggage. I don't know. I don't know if they can or not. And right, Average Joe. I think the problem has been, and maybe James Gunn and Peter Safran can turn that around. I think that's the intent, which has always been. I've always felt it was a good step. I think that the advantage that they had at Marvel was that they had one guy. They had Kevin Feige, who was steering the ship, and I'm sure he had to fight tons of battles with execs through the way, but he was unwavering in his vision, and DC didn't have that. The heads kept changing at the executive level, so everybody brought in a different vision, so it would change. You remake the same movie like Suicide Squad, okay? It was crazy. And you thought this was going to fix what? All right, Suicide Squad, first one, sucked. Will Smith, horrible, okay? So let's remake the same movie with different actors.
So what are we like some kind of Suicide Squad? That movie does kind of suck, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, because I watched it years later.
Focus on Will Smith. All right, so Idris Elba, I thought was much better in the role.
Yeah.
All right, you could tell that Will Smith had used his star muscle to play a bigger role in that film. Right, there was the one scene where he's in prison. They have all the guns and stuff. That was a scene, to show Will Smith can shoot and reload guns real fast. What was the purpose of that?
Plus, when I first heard that Jared Leto was going to play the Joker, I got really excited, and then when I saw it, I was like, "What? Who thought that was a good idea? like a pimp Joker? I don't know. It was so weird. It was such a weird interpretation for the Joker. As soon as I first saw the images with the tattoos, I was just like, that's not real, right? Right?
So listen, the second one I actually really enjoyed. Okay, they brought back some of the same cast, obviously, which worked. The first one had what's her name?
Margot Robbie?
No.
Viola Davis?
Nope. It was the guy, the one character that worked for the government, and he was trying to protect her.
Oh, it's guy or the girl?
What's that?
Are you talking about Rick Flag or Enchantress? Or
yeah, in the first one, he was tied to the woman. She's real famous. She's kind of wacko. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
She was like the Wraith or something like that. I forget what her character was, but she was like
character's like a witch.
Yeah.
The Enchantress. You're talking about the Enchantress, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but what's the actor's name? I forget her name, dude.
I don't know. She's always in the movie.
But yeah, that was stupid. The second time I liked the character so much.
Yeah,
better.
Jane makes you care about Rick Flag, and then they kill him. It's like, aw, like that.
Yeah, but that was well done in the sense that the Rick Flag character was. Thank you, Marcus. Was he was an agent. He was trying to get it done. He had all these characters that he had to deal with and lead, and he eventually got killed. But the first one, it's like he seemed like kind of a wimp. Well, I'm trying to
He's there
protect
for
her.
exposition.
I'm trying to protect her. She's a good person.
She's a good person.
It was like,
this
what?
guy, he's there for expedition. This guy can do this. That guy can climb buildings.
Yeah.
This guy can light himself
What
on
are you
fire.
here to do?
That's Katana. Okay. She has my back.
Yeah, what are you here to do? To take care of your girlfriend? It's like, dude.
All right, we got a good question from Dynamite here. Eternals or Suicide Squad, better film? And I'm assuming we're talking about the original Suicide Squad. And I would actually,
because I'm like,
original Suicide Squad
or Eternals.
I would say Suicide Squad.
I would say Eternals.
I would say Suicide Squad.
Almost as bad as that movie was.
I'm the tiebreaker.
It was still better than the first Suicide Squad.
I thought Eternals was so bad.
Three-name movie: Will Smith and the Suicide Squad. Okay, and Enchantress.
At least Suicide Squad's got Margot Robbie. It's got some humor to it. It's got a decent enough soundtrack. Like, I think there's more for me to enjoy.
Better put together movie. Yeah, I would actually go Eternals. Yeah, as the better put together movie.
Eternals,
even though I have a bunch of problems with that execution too. But
I'm just also going to give it to Suicide Squad because then I don't have to waste another 3 hours if I had to watch either of these films again. I'd rather watch the shorter one.
What is the similarities that killed both films up? Because my big problem with the Eternals wasn't the CGI. Okay, what wasn't most of the characters. Same thing killed the first Suicide Squad. If people want to see a rom-com, they will. They come here to see superheroes and development of the story. Okay, so Eternals, the two characters that they focus on in their love affair. Who gives a crap? Okay, I actually like the Angelina Jolie character and her friend. Mm-hmm. I would like to see that relationship develop more.
I've said before, I say again, Eternals has all these good ideas in it. We just don't have enough time to focus on each one. There's so many characters, and we go back and forth in time.
Eternals
has nothing to do in that movie.
And why
Eternals should have been a series. Eternals should have been a series, right? 100%.
Yeah. It should have been a series. We got to know each person better, and then each episode could have been a different time period with each person.
I would agree.
And then the movie could have been all modern time, and then how because I like the idea to introduce do we save this planet even though we're stopping a celestial from people? They ask interesting questions. It's all interesting, but the execution just needed more tweaking.
I like what Average Joe and KG are saying. I agree, KG. It wasn't that bad. It was boring because they focused on storylines we didn't care about. And I want to say that I agree with Average Joe. The visuals were great. The first Suicide Squad, Will Smith, muscle screen time. Okay. That's number one. Number two, again, same problem. The rom-com. I don't want to see a rom-com. If I did, I would watch a rom-com.
Dynamite, right? The Black Knight tease. Again, clearly that character has a very interesting storyline, but it happens all off screen, and it's just a tag at the end of it. I'm like, I want to see how we got the sword. What's the family history? I want to see more of that.
Wasn't even really a tease. That was basically telling us
you're there.
This is the actor we're gonna have to play Black Knight if we ever end up doing something with that. Ta-da! Okay, moving on. So I gotta tell you, Eternals I think overall was still better. Okay, because Suicide Squad, it was just so poorly done. They focused on all the wrong issues.
More cowbell and Kingo.
The Will Smith, Will Smith.
Kingo was the best part of the Eternals for me. I loved Kingo in the Eternals. He was great.
I'll give you another example of unnecessary a scene shot in the first Suicide Squad. Him walking with his daughter. It's Christmas time. What was the point of that scene? And then Batman sort of shows up. What was the point? Where did that go into the storyline? I didn't understand.
To show that he's not the worst type of person. I'm just thinking as a story.
Again, there were 9 other characters in the movie.
And they were trying to show that it's all connected, right? By having Affleck in there, having Barry Allen be in there, because Ezra was in Suicide Squad too, right? The bit with the Captain Boomerang.
Right. Second.
Yeah. So I thought that was cool. And it was, at that time, they were like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to build out this thing. But they definitely missed the mark. And that's why I think James Gunn's going to be able to kind of refocus in on, one of the things I've said, when James Gunn first got announced as being, taking over with Peter Safran, the DC films, I was like, I think James Gunn has more of a sense of what the majority of DC fans will want than Zack Snyder or David Ayers did. You know what I'm saying? So
I would agree. Hey, listen, at this point, we're hoping, right? We're at the doorstep of them turning it around. Every movie coming out from this point forward is going to be a James Gunn vision. So good or bad, okay, there is one vision, and that sometimes says a lot, I think. Just having one vision. First of all, you end up not making the same movie twice with a different cast. All right, they've done that way too many times. You're not releasing, okay? So if it sucks, it sucks. If it's great, it's great. But the kind of trying to go back and fix it type of attitude is over. And that I think is a positive, not a negative.
Man, what a great, fun, nerdy conversation. And we didn't even really have a plan. And this was awesome. This was great. So thank you out there in the chat. Thank you, Rex and Amy. Tell us what y'all got coming up.
Well, tonight, again, probably the biggest selection of original art we've ever had. So the original art show on the EXP at 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight. So you got to tune in if you are a fan of original art or you want to see great original art. Bagley and
Mark Bagley, Brett Booth, Dale Eaglesham.
So it's going to be some great stuff, some key covers, so you don't want to miss it. We are off Monday. I forgot to tell you that, Robbie. All right, so no
I figured, but I didn't see the show link. So
there you go. So that probably clued you in, right? And then of course we have we'll be back Wednesday. I think Wednesday we're going to move to an hour though. Our new summer scheduling, and what do you got coming up, buddy?
Well, tomorrow night on Dylan's Horror Show, I'm not going to be there, but they're going to be covering Jaws, very appropriate for this time of year. Then I'll be doing Rockin Robbie live on Sunday night, and then we're off Monday for PCP movie night, but we return July 10th with Indiana Jones, the entire franchise review to kick off Action Fest 2023. We got a great lineup for Action Fest. We're doing all the Indiana Jones movies. We're doing Missing in Action. We're doing Ip Man. We're doing Predator, the original, and we're wrapping it all up with the Beverly Hills Cop trilogy. So it's going to be a fun time.
Ip Man, I will definitely join you, my friend.
Nice. That's a great movie.
I am a big fan. And KG, you troublemaker, you.
This tree could have gone on easily 3 hours. I agree, because this is just stuff we can go on all day about.
Absolutely. All right, Rex, Amy, thank you so much. Right, thank you so much for being here. You out there in the chat, we appreciate it. And if you're watching on the replay, let us know in the comments below anything that you think about